Local 5 CyHawk Gameday is sponsored by Nissan.
Welcome into CyHawk Gameday. It is week 4 of the college football season. I'm John Schaefer. Jeff Woody has the week off. He just got married last week, so congratulations to the former Cyclone running back and his new wife. The Iowa Hawkeyes still unbeaten after handling Kent State with ease in a 30-7 win last week. The Iowa State Cyclones moved to a 2-1 record with a thorough dismantling of UNLV in Vegas. Fun fact, 7th best attendance in UNLV history. And they can thank Cyclones fans for that. A lot of fun out there. And speaking of fun, the Cyclones had plenty of it a week ago, especially that offense. That was missing the first 2 weeks of the season for them. You could say they felt the pressure of expectations, or even it's just the norm for ISU. Slow starts. Either way, last week was a big step forward. Look for the fun to continue.
Last week, that's what we just wanted to find, was that sense of urgency, some joy for the game, the love of the game. And I feel like we found it. You know, we went out to Vegas. We went out a day early, and we just focused on each other, focused on, you know, what we have to do that game, but having fun at the end of the day. And so for this game, it's no different. The opponent is different, but same mindset for us as far as going out, playing our game, and having fun and playing for each other rather than, you know, focus on the outcomes, the results.
Getting back to the basics is just enjoying every little thing and everything that comes with this sport. Enjoying our teammates, enjoying going to practice, enjoying practice itself, and just being excited about it.
Finding our, inner selves, having fun in the locker room, remembering that at the end of the day, it's a game and you're supposed to have fun while doing this. I know we do it for, other reasons, but at the same time, it's something that we can enjoy, something that we've been doing our whole entire lives. So it's always, we can't forget to have fun. It's something that we need to always have in our back pocket.
Week 3, we just went out there and we just kind of, said, we said, and then we just had fun out there. So, that's all the game is, and we have to remember that this is still, a kid's game at the end of the day.
So fun is had when winning, but the Cyclones weren't having fun in Waco 2 years ago. Remember that giant fiasco with the Cyclones not being allowed to have tents on the sidelines? Iowa State sure does. It got it to be in the upper 90s outside that day, hundreds on the field, and eventually the distraction aided in a loss to the Bears. This time, ISU will be ready for warm weather and the Bears themselves.
It starts with their offensive line. I beyond impressed with, certainly the offensive structure that they have right now, what's going on there. A new hire as the offensive coordinator from a year ago. I think the rhythm that they're playing with on the offensive side of the football in terms of, the ability to run the football, really set their quarterback up to be in, positive situations throughout the football game. And I think that whole rhythm of what they're doing offensively has certainly led to them get off to a great start and really impressive in the two backs. Both of them are different, but both of them have the ability to hit the home run ball. And, you see that not only in terms of offensive production, but you also see it in terms of special teams production, both of them being in the return game as well.
As far as, going on the road and trying to, really just have momentum going into the Big 12 play and stuff. So we've all been here. I feel like in 2019 it was the same thing. Going into Baylor, early in the season against a good defense. They got a good, well-coached team. And so it's almost like the same thing, Last time we didn't go out and we didn't start off hot until really the end of the game. We found some momentum. So we've learned from stuff like that, and so we know really what to expect now, going back 2 years later. It feels like the same thing.
Iowa State and Baylor will kick things off at 2:30 today in Waco. That game airing on Fox. Should be a warm one down there, but nothing like what they saw a couple of years ago. The Cyclones, again, are a touchdown favorite. As for the Iowa Hawkeyes, they have one more non-conference game to navigate and really keep this momentum rolling into the remainder of their Big Ten slate. For senior back Ivory Kelly Martin, his focus remains on ball security, something he admittedly struggled with against Kent State last week.
Obviously, the game is a little bit tough for me, but I'm looking forward, and that's something he tried his best to tell me also. Just continue to look forward, and luckily I've been able to play a lot of good football in my days, and I know my ability, and I'm not going to lose any bit of my confidence. And he just told me that same thing: is keep my confidence. I'm doing extremely good things out there on the field, and while sometimes it didn't look too good out there for me, but I know there's still plenty more I can give to this football team.
So ball security for Kelly Martin is a key point for Iowa this week. The other, handling the Colorado State size. They're a big team, but one thing that should give the Hawkeyes some comfort is that they run a defense pretty similar to what Iowa sees most weeks in the Big Ten, not like the 3-3-5 schemes they've dealt with in their first 3 weeks. And the offense for CSU is ready to play some heavy football in the trenches.
Their offensive coordinator was the quarterbacks coach at Wisconsin for a few years, and then I think their head coach was at BC. So, not that they're Big Ten, but they run some power gap schemes. So, yeah, definitely more traditional like that.
And they get a bunch of big guys up front, and boy, you better be really gap sound, all those types of things, because the back will come shooting through there if somebody misses or is a little bit off where they're supposed to be. And they make it hard because they got big bodies coming out on you, and it's tough that way. So that's going to be a unique challenge probably from what we've seen. There's a little bit of that last week, but it's not quite the same, and you can't match the size that Colorado State's got offensively. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different than flipping it over. This defense looks a little more recognizable, if that's the right word, compared to what we faced the last couple. But it's, still they do some things that we're going to have to be ready for.
Iowa hosts Colorado State later today. That game airing on FS1 at 2:30 from Kinnick Stadium. A short turnaround for the Hawkeyes, who have a Friday night game against Maryland next week. So look for the Hawkeyes to put this one to bed early, get some rest as well. With that, we'll be right back to break down the Hawkeyes next on CyHawk Gameday. Welcome back into CyHawk Gameday here on Local 5. Let's take a closer look at the Hawkeyes now as they wrap up non-conference play. We have to start by talking about this insane streak that Iowa's on. 25 straight games holding opponents under 25 points. The last time Iowa gave up more than 25 points in a game, Black Friday in 2018. Iowa still beat Nebraska 31-28 that day. Since then, this Iowa defense has been tough to crack. This year's no exception. The Hawkeyes have given up just 30 points total in the first 3 games of the season. Iowa State scored 17 of those, and one of the touchdowns in that game came in garbage time with the Cyclone fans making their way to the exits. The turnover margin is where the Hawkeyes have really excelled this season, creating 8 turnovers, and they're +5 in the turnover margin. The first 2 games, it was the secondary doing the work to create turnovers, but last week the defensive front forced a big fumble on the 1 to stop the Golden Flashes from keeping this game close. That's what is scary about this Iowa defense. They pick each other up if one is down a bit, and the secondary certainly gave up some big plays last week. The front 7 or 8 will get the job done to create some pressure and turnovers themselves. So 7 sacks last week for Iowa against Kent State. Meanwhile, the offense answered some questions for us as well last week. Need an example? Go watch the second quarter where Iowa put together a 95-yard drive that spanned 8.5 minutes and led to 7 points with the Sam Laporta receiving touchdown. Spencer Petras was efficient, had a couple of duds, but overall looked the part of a starting quarterback, finishing 25 of 36 for 209 yards and a passing touchdown. This was a balanced attack that will need to carry over the rest of the season. If it does, Iowa has the ability to be a really scary team for the rest of the Big Ten. They're not number 5 in the country for no reason. Tyler Goodson has capitalized on his bell cow role, and I love seeing the scheme from Brian Ferentz. Just look at the 2 big touchdown runs from Goodson. First one, well, this one caught Kent State completely off guard, had the entire defense flowing one direction, giving Goodson nothing but daylight for 35 yards. The second run, well, the offensive line just flowed nicely. Great blocking, taking advantage of their strength, and Tyler Goodson is just money from there. That brings me to this point. Could Iowa go unbeaten in the regular season? Yes, absolutely. It is 100% realistic to expect the Hawkeyes to be playing in the Big Ten Championship in December. You look across the schedule, there are 3 games that concern me. Penn State at home on the 9th. The Nittany Lions, of course, are legit this year, and that will be a battle for both teams. The week before also worries me, a Friday night game in Maryland against the Terps. Doesn't exactly scream perfect setup for the Hawkeyes. The Terps could be a little bit of trouble. And lastly, and I think this is the game that decides the Big Ten West crown, Iowa at Wisconsin on Halloween. As if Camp Randall already isn't the hardest place to play in the West, mix in Halloween, and it's going to be a strange game to say the least. If Iowa can win one of those 2 against Wisconsin or Penn State, I think they'll be fine the rest of the way. Maybe even a return to Pasadena, or better, is in the cards. Iowa is the top-ranked Big Ten team as of now, so who knows? Hawkeye fans, just buckle up, though. Going to be a fun ride through the rest of this season. All right, when we come back on CyHawk Gameday, look at the Cyclones, plus what are the Baylor Bears saying about ISU? All right, so we broke the Hawkeyes down. Let's take a closer look at the Iowa State Cyclones entering today's Big 12 opener as favorites over Baylor. But is that realistic to think Iowa State can beat Baylor by a touchdown? Yes and no. Let's give the Baylor Bears a little bit of credit here. They have outscored their opponents 140-34. Oh wait, what's this? The best team they've played is Kansas? Okay, no respect for Baylor in 3, 2, 1. The Bears have not played anyone. The best team in their first 3 games, Texas State. Pretty sure you and I would walk all over anyone Baylor's played to this point. So Iowa State should come in today and drop the hammer, in my opinion. Get that offense rolling just like last week. Look, I know UNLV is atrocious defensively, but if Iowa State can carry over that balanced attack, they'll be golden today. Brock Purdy looked like the gunslinger that we've come to know so well, and when Matt Campbell asked his guys to just go out and make a play, they did, namely Xavier Hutchinson. The wideout has become one of the most reliable targets in the country. Mix in the fact that Charlie Kohler's back to 100% and Brees is running with purpose. The Cyclones have the makings of that team we saw win a Fiesta Bowl less than a year ago. Expectations remain high for the Cyclones, even ranked number 14. Yeah, it's not 7, but this is a marathon, not a sprint. Did they lose to Iowa week 2? Yes. Does that change anything for them? No. Simply put, if they want a shot at the playoff, they just can't lose again this season. The committee won't put a 2-loss Big 12 team into the playoff, even if ISU wins the Big 12 title. That just means a guaranteed trip to the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Now, if Iowa State does lose, it shouldn't come today. The Cyclones defense held the Bears to 10 second-half points last year in Ames. Cyclones can't afford to get down early, and I don't think they do. I think Mike Rose and Will McDonald make life tough on Jerry Bohannon, who hasn't seen this offense in person. It's a different beast to dissect in real time. The front for Iowa State will also need to bottle up that two-headed monster in the backfield for Baylor, something they really haven't struggled to do this season. Iowa State ranks 4th nationally in rushing yards against per game, giving up under 50 per game this season. They're number 1 in the nation overall in opponents' yards per game as well, averaging under 200 yards against. What does that tell me? Iowa State's defense is as close to perfect as they can be right now. They don't give up big plays typically. They have depth. Don't believe me, just look at Orion Vance. He's been out the last 2 weeks, and Jerry Vaughn has stepped right in and not missed a beat. Those are big shoes to fill, but Vaughn has done it marvelously. This defense is in good hands. They have veterans all over, and the guys filling in roles have done so adequately. I think Baylor gets their yards this game, but not sure they get points. We'll look closer at the 3 keys to get the wins for the Cyclones in this one, but here's what the Bears are saying about the Cyclones ahead of today's kickoff in Waco at 2:30.
I think the run game is probably the most important thing this week, and that's what we've been focusing on. As far as what I see from Iowa State is I see a team that's just that's gonna punish you if you make mistakes, and so we need to make sure that we make no mistakes this week. Really talented back. We faced him last year. He's a hard runner, and so we're gonna have to really emphasize tackling this week, and I believe we do that.
That they fly to the ball. They drop 8, but all those guys fly to the ball, especially the back guys. I mean, they have their number 1. He's always around the ball, so they're a solid fundamental team.
It's always cool to play in front of the fans because that gives us energy, and Iowa State's a really good team to play against, and so I'm really excited for it.
I'll probably just say defense. We haven't seen this defense all year, and they're a physical defense. They're a run to the ball, so I think they're going to give us more zone coverage also. So as the receivers, we have to work out windows and find open spots, and just have to be on the same page with the QBs.
Great identity. There's no mistake on who they are and who they want to be. I think they play really hard. I think they're very physical. A lot of respect for their coaches, for who they are and what they do, and a physical team. It jumps off the screen when you watch it.
Now, when we come back, who the big men on campus need to be, plus the 3 keys to this afternoon's games for both Iowa State and Iowa if they want to come away with a win. Alrighty, welcome back in and good morning. Now let's get to the 3 keys for the Cyclones and the Hawkeyes. Today we start with ISU opening Big 12 play on the road in Waco. Number 1 for the Cyclones, start fast. I hit on it just a bit ago, but a fast start is key for Iowa State on both sides of the ball. Offensively, get Brees Hall in a groove, give him to work on the ground, and that's going to free up the aerial attack for Brock Purdy. Defensively, starting fast means getting after Bohannon. Plain and simple, make the Bears one-dimensional, and they're not going to be comfortable without being able to air it out. At times, they like running the ball, but don't let them get steam. Number 2, it's obvious, but it has to be true today. Win the turnover battle. They're still minus a in that column this year. A 4-turnover game will do that, but this defense is too talented not to create more turnover opportunities. Matt Campbell defines turnovers with 3 and outs and punts, as well as, getting the ball back. Number 3, the guys have said it all week this week, said it all week last week, so I'm sticking with it today. Have fun again. Expectations are only as big as you make them. Of course, ISU wants to be the best they possibly can be. Who wouldn't? But they can't do that if they're thinking about every single little move or misstep. Don't let any mistakes compound. It's happened in the moment. It's happened in the past. Just don't let it happen here. Keep in mind, Matt Campbell is 1-4 in Big 12 openers as Iowa State's head coach. Baylor spoiled the Cyclones' Big 12 opener in 19, and they're out to do that again today. That brings me to the big man on campus for Iowa State. To me, we have to go back to Breece Hall. He can control the tempo of this game by averaging 4 yards a carry today. He has the ability to break off the big run every time he touches the ball, and I think he hits the big one today. But more importantly, when there isn't a lot of room to work, I want to see the junior back make room like we saw him do in years past. He struggled at times to find those holes out there this season. Baylor will want to take him out of this game, but I think that's got to be the focal point of Iowa State's offense again. It takes pressure off of Brock, frees up some space in the secondary, and that's where the Cyclones can thrive. They play best off of the run, and that's who they are. For the Hawkeyes, let's break into their 3 keys for them against Colorado State. They are as follows. First, control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I hit on this earlier, breaking down the Hawkeyes, but the 2 touchdowns by Tyler Goodson happened because they controlled the line. They took advantage of a terrible defensive setup by Kent State, and I think they try to exploit Colorado State in a similar manner. And defensively, they can apply a bit more pressure in the trenches. The Hawkeyes have had to worry about dual threat quarterbacks for 3 straight weeks. Today, a totally different story. Pin those ears back, get after it. Number 2, take care of the football. Ivory Kelly-Martin has fumbled the ball inside the red zone now and nearly lost another when the Hawkeyes were marching. They're a team that capitalizes on mistakes and can ill afford making mistakes of their own, so taking care of the football is crucial. Spencer Petras hasn't thrown an interception all year. I probably just jinxed it, but overall I like how he's managed things, so keep doing that as well. And then number 3, enjoy the home environment and feed off that energy. The Hawkeyes have played 3 home games in 4 weeks after today. They hit the road next week, so let that crowd play into you a bit, help you get to 4-0 on the year. There is a ton of excitement around Hawkeye fans, and for good reason. This is a team that has the ability to run the table, and that's not just me pandering. That's real. So feed off the excitement, enjoy the moment, stay present, and go out and get a win. So on the Hawkeyes note, let's take a look at their big man on campus. I'm going to go running back again. He's been big all season. Today I expect more of the same. Tyler Goodson. I mean, the guy has 5 touchdowns this season. More than half have been on runs of more than 30 yards. He's scary good. Not talked about nearly enough in college football nationally, and has the ability to break off the big one at the snap of his fingers. Tyler Goodson has been a safety net for Spencer Petras in the passing game as well, but most importantly, it's rare that Goodson is ever tackled in the backfield. That usually sets your offense up pretty well on 2nd and 3rd down. Brian Ferentz needs that, so look for Goodson to go 100+ again and a couple more tutties against Colorado State. And with that, we'll be right back on CyHawk Gameday to wrap things up. We'll get you the plays of the day if you're into the wagering type of thing. Some plays worth your time. Welcome back in. Time to wrap things up with my 5 plays of the day around college football. Let's just start it off right out of the gates. Notre Dame, I like them at +6.5 against Wisconsin. I know this game's in Madison. I think Wisconsin might actually not even show a pulse in this game. I think the Irish are not a great team, but I think they're good enough to get it done at Camp Randall. I don't think Wisconsin scores enough to cover or win by 7 here. K-State at Hawkeyes State. The Cowboys giving 6 points. I like Chris Kleiman, though, to cover. K-State, legit top 25 team. I think Hawkeyes State could be a sleeper in the Big 12, but Wildcats get the 6 points here, so take them. Michigan State -5 versus Nebraska. Look, Michigan State's going to run all over the Huskers today. They're coming off of an emotional loss to Oklahoma. Then Colorado State versus Iowa. Give me the under 45.5. Iowa doesn't give up points. Their offense isn't going to go score 40 today. So I like Iowa under 44.5. And then Cyclones Baylor. Give me under 47. 2 teams that know how to play really good defense. Alrighty, that'll do it for CyHawk Game Day. We'll see you again next week.